What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Thank you so much for being here tonight, and welcome to our triple threat tonight. I say that as we are about to start Game 2 on Heroes League TV. Thank you very much for joining us, guys, and in case you're wondering who us is, I am Pixie, and joining me tonight is the effervescent and capable Avril.
Big name to live up to, and certainly a reputation to keep. If that, thank you very much for the introduction, Pixie. Here we go, week 5. We got a big game up for you guys tonight. Jam versus Untitled Spreadsheet, two of the best teams in the region, clashing here finally at Heroes League week number 5. And whoa, what a game we've got ready for you guys tonight.
Yeah, we actually saw just at the end of last week Jam take on Tainted Minds and come out unequivocally ahead. Of course, earlier that week as well, we saw Untitled Spreadsheet continue their winning streak against another top-of-the-table team. I believe it was... you know what? I'm drawing a complete blank on this, but in any case, the VODs are there in case you want to go see either of those matches.
Sure.
But
Jam versus Tainted Minds? Is that the game you're talking about?
Jam versus Tainted Minds, and then Untitled Spreadsheet played someone, and it was a very good match. But in any case, they won. So both of these teams have proved their worth, earned their chops, if you will, on this new patch, and they kind of know what's what. It's also been about a week since that patch has come out, so they've had plenty of other time to practice and scrim. I think we're going to see a much more mature take on the metagame now than we actually saw in those previous matches, and I think it's going to be a really, really hot fight.
Yeah, and I think the team you were talking about for last week is, of course, Wood Kicks.
That's the one.
We casted that one, and boy, was that one... That VOD is still there if you guys want to check it out. Heroes League TV on YouTube. But, oh man, that was a heated match, and really close for I remember the Numbani came down to something like 20 seconds, and these were the two teams, and Jam in particular as well, but these top teams are really the teams in the region that not only us, but the rest of the scene, the rest of the competitive scene look up to try and see, okay, what are people running, how are these teams handling the new patch, and can we learn something from their games? And of course, that patch came out on the day Woodkicks faced Untitled Spreadsheet.
Yeah, and of course that's why I say I feel like we're going to see a slightly more matured take on that metagame now. These teams have had some time to try things out, and you know, like you said, these two teams are often considered some of the teams to look up to in terms of playing to the latest patches, to the latest updates, and kind of leading the way with that. And I kind of want to talk about something quite specific with that. Of course, Ana, one of the big features of the new patch, in their game versus Tainted Minds, Jam actually came up against a very interesting Ana strat. It didn't work out, but I would not at all be surprised if they've seen that and then gone away, tried it out, maybe refined it a bit, and I would like to maybe see that come out on our second map of the night, Dorado. But first map of the night is going to be Lijiang Tower, and we're going to jump into that pretty much now. Hold on tight, guys. So it's not often we actually see King of the Hill. We haven't done one of those for a while. What are we expecting to see here now that we've had the big changes to overtime?
Well, I mean, I just think it makes the game a lot better. We're not actually going to get straight into the map just yet while the teams are still readying up. But as far as overtime goes, I'm just glad that we're not getting a lot of stalls back in the game now. Teams are really forced to make better. It's a lot more pressured to make a lot more clutch plays during the overtime. The kills count a lot more because of the extra respawn time. I believe it's 2 seconds that you get extra on the respawn. And basically, it's just a lot more decisive. One team is going to come out on top and the other team will not, and you're not going to have massive overtime stalls in the game. And I just think it's really healthy for the competitive scene in general. Back on the point you made about Ana just previously, we're not going to see Ana, or it's very unlikely we'll see Ana on Lijiang Towers, but I do believe Dorado, there will be a chance for Ana to shine. Not completely sure where exactly you'll see Ana. I don't think you'll see Ana perhaps on the third point because the sight lines aren't great, but the second point and possibly the first point got some decent sniper sight lines. But more importantly than that, it's the nano boost that teams are really looking to utilized to break holds, especially on the offensive team. You're probably not going to see Ana on defense, but the possibility for Ana on offense for a payload map like Dorado, I think it's definitely up there.
Yeah, and of course, for those of you who didn't see, again, hey, shameless plug, it's totally up there on the VODs, guys. Check them out; they're pretty cool. We have VODs of all the matches we broadcast, but the strategy specifically that was pulled out by Tainted Minds, they had D.Va and an Ana was the core of it, and this was, of course, on Mbani, so this is over the first point, the capture point. They took the hotel flank, charged up the Ana ult, threw it on the D.Va, and got the D.Va right across the gap just to cause absolute havoc, basically, in the entrenched position of Jam Gaming. Now, like I said, it didn't quite work out properly, and Jam reacted to it fairly well, but as sort of a backline breaker for any kind of entrenched position, it is a potentially really powerful strategy, and there are some areas on Dorado that have those kinds of defensive setups, and like I said, I would be kind of keen to see Jam maybe refine that strategy a bit and pull that out tonight. On the flip side of that, Tainted Minds, who we haven't really seen any Ana play from, do we think they might have any hidden strategies in the bag?
I'm not too sure, but I'm really interested to see that. The teams are ready now. I want to get this game ready and started to go. So Lijiang Tower, that's going to be our first map. I'm going to wait and see what these teams are actually going to do. So instead of answering your question directly, let's just find out. Let's see what these teams can actually do on this map.
Oh, and this is going to be an exciting one. I am actually really excited to see Control as well with the overtime changes, because of course before, it kind of came down to RNG, right? Not like completely, but it was just an absolute stall fest, and it felt really lucky when one team won the final fight over the other. You know, I mean, sure, there's skill involved because these are very skilled players, but there wasn't the same depth of strategy and skill as there was in other maps, and that is slightly different now. I say slightly because it's not all the way there, but I mean, Control maps in the competitive environment are much different looking things now. So first, for Lijiang Tower, we are going to have the night markets, and I am going to assume that Ana is not really going to be there. Neither is the Tourbillon, but I could be mistaken on that one. What are your thoughts on these lineups as they stand?
Well, I think it's just unlikely. To be honest, though, at this stage, we're still only 1 week into the patch, and it's not completely out of the question. I think it's extremely unlikely. Once again, even with the top teams, it's really difficult to play at the full potential of what Ana can actually bring to a team. But we'll leave that for the time being, because teams are already starting to get in there with Peel's the first one going to be jumping in.
Nice, just aggressive move there to ensure that Jam are the first ones on the point. But now Mosh is going to try the same thing, and everyone's still gotten right onto the point. Yuki trying to do some work in the backline along with Mosh. And Peels is in a lot of trouble, and that's just a really nice sweep in there. Just a ton of work being done by Raz.
Yeah, Yuki picking up the double kill right at the start of that point really set the tone for Spreadsheet. Jam were actually the first team to get on the point. Spreadsheet followed them in, but I really expected Jam to play Spreadsheet onto the choke, as Spreadsheet have to be the ones moving through the choke at the front door, and Jam already there. But Yuki getting that double kill really secured them that first point, and you don't even have ultimates in the first point to really contest, so all the kills really count in the first fight, and the first fight really throws a lot of momentum for one of the teams, and you can actually see here 2 ultimates already up for Untitled Spreadsheet off of just winning that first point. Yuki picking up 3 or more kills. Here comes Jam's second push.
Yeah, they're going to go right in. The Deadeye is available, but a good job there by Peels, just keeping Yuki off the point. The breakdown coming in from the defenders as well. It's going to help out a little bit with the health bars. They pick off Dozer, Jimeb, and Atar. The Cello can fall over, and really it's just not a convincing looking push by Jam Gaming at all. Peels tried to do the right thing, but honestly they just didn't do enough work against the crucial members. And all those ultimates you were just talking about, hey, they're still available now for the defenders.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Most of them are still available. Yuki didn't have to use his, but the big one that I'm looking forward to seeing now is Atar. His Dragon Blade is ready to go. Jameb's Deadeye is coming up as well. Doz's Transcendence is now available. This is going to be push that Jam really need. Atar, the monster Genji of the Australian scene, finally got his ultimate ready. Can he make this push happen? He's a big carry for Jam Gaming, and I'm expecting him to make some really massive plays.
They're gonna look for it now, and here he goes in, trying to find GNB. There's the defensive Iris and the aggressive Iris as Raz falls over at the top of the fight. That's the enemy, Genji just done for, but that's a really great Gravitron.
Oh,
so
triple Deadeye!
Stop that in its wake. Yeah, the Gravitron into the Deadeye was just sick there. GNB, flawless placement on that black hole.
And both teams, really, they traded all of the ultimates. Here comes Jam again. A spreadsheet.
Yeah, they're not going to get
the
on
offense, though.
Oh, that's the time at Dunzo. And yeah, I mean, you said it. Atar looked like he might actually have that opportunity, but wow, that was just a really great Gravitron by GNB.
Here's
totally
the problem.
Sealed that.
Here's the problem with Jam Gaming. They really only made one proper push. The first push, well, the first fight is completely even. I mean, it comes down to whoever gets the better position, who can get the first picks, and then it's the momentum of Koth that gets you going. Spreadsheet, after winning the first fight, they're the ones with the ultimates. Jam have to be the ones playing from behind in the second fight. It's very difficult in the second fight to take back the point after you've lost, because the other team has got all the ultimates. You have to almost throw a fight, force a couple of ultimates, and come back to the third fight. Coming to the third fight, still, they didn't have enough tools to take down Spreadsheet. And you see Atar being shut down on all three of those pushes. He's their big Gary. He's like the best Genji probably pretty much in this area, and just couldn't pull the weight last game.
And now we're going to see if he can pull it in this one. I like this adaptation by Peels going on to that Reinhardt instead of the Winston. And again, we're seeing similar to last time. Jam are actually the first to kind of get toward the point. Now we have to see what work is going to be done by Untitled Spreadsheet here. GNB did get picked up a little bit early.
This looks so much better for Jam Gaming because they picked up GNB right this side. Jameb doing a lot of work now, and Spreadsheet now being the ones to attack from behind, but the point's not being kept yet. I think Jam really need to get that kept.
And they do have it now. They found Yuki as well, which was pretty key. Now they're just doing the best job they can of holding that point and maybe trying to keep the attacking team kettled a little bit now. But this is one of the control points where it's really easy to just get totally short up and really hard to break, especially with that Reinhardt. I think that was a really great adaptation, and it's totally paid off. Yuki already in a bit of trouble, going to be able to get to safety.
I'll say something.
Looking for another push.
I think Spreadsheet in particular, they actually did a really good job of minimizing losses. They didn't lose that many players. I'm going to stop talking because the second push is going to come in now.
It's a really nice Deadeye just to keep people zone, but Yuki around the side with the flashbang cancels it out before it can be taken.
Here comes Atar's Dragon Blade.
This is a really big one from Atar if he can find enough people, but the rest of his team, a few already down. He's going in for it now. He finds refs. That's a big one to start with. And now the monkey mode Winston. If they can get Marsh, then they actually keep this point and hold. And he's way off the point. Marsh falls over. Michello, one-man army. That was just really great play across the board by the defenders. And
Michello's going to go for a swim up the top of the point, and when I say swim, I mean swimming in concrete, because he's going to slam his face right into the pavement at the bottom of the Lijiang Towers, and 57% onto the cap. Here comes Mosh again. Spreadsheet actually not looking too bad. They're going to pick up Dozer. This is going to be a good fight for Spreadsheet.
Yeah, RQT have that Transcendence available. This could be their window. He's going to go for it right on top of the point now. If he can get the rest of the team in there, this could be really big for them. Four-man contesting. They take out Michello as well. It's the second tank, Dunzo. Now it's just the Winston really trying to go monkey mode on the payload. Sorry, on the point even, and that is a cap from Untitled Spreadsheet. That was just a perfect use of the Transcendence by RQT. No hesitation.
It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate they lost Dozer because Dozer also had a Transcendence, but he's managed to keep that up through the death. So here comes another push by Jam. They have 5 ultimates this time. The big one is Atar has another Dragon Blade, but they can combo it with the Black Hole from the Cello. That's the combo that I really want to see. If they can manage to pull that combo off, Spreadsheet are going to be in for a bit of pain here.
They've nearly got an Earth Shatter as well. They're just going to go right in for it. The Transcendence needs to come up pretty much straight away. Marsh trying to do what he can on the back line, keeping a couple of members busy there. Deadeye comes out. This is time for a Transcendence. But there's the defensive Black Hole from GNB, the aggressive one yet to come out. There's Iris, just barely.
Here he goes. Here he goes.
They're going for it. They find Braz. They're looking for the fight. If they can get Yuki as well, they get him. Now it's GNB and the whole team is white. Solid cap.
Unbelievable. Atar, you cannot be serious. You are not allowed to do that on this point. You got Black Hole, you saved your ultimate, and he comes out and cleans up the rest of Spreadsheet. 82% now for the cap timer for Jam Gaming. This is starting to look really good. Ultimate's pretty even on both sides. RQD going to come in with another Transcendence soon.
Oh, both teams start. They're throwing the survey, but the Earth Shadow was there. RQT already down at the top of the fight. Yuki Marsh as well. Raz going for a Death Blossom. If he can find it, then he might be able to secure this one, but it's not going to be enough damage from him alone. He falls over. GNB is out of the mech, and now the man himself is down and out for the count. It's just refs, and he is sure to fall. There he goes, and
Good
that's
lord.
secured now by Jam.
You
Evening up the series. Oh, the monkey! Just in time.
Here comes RQT.
RQT with the Transcendence. I don't know if the rest of the team can follow up though, because this is just going to be trickling A-Time with another Dragon Blade. If he can find this, Mosh goes down. That's got to be the secure. This time Raz as well. He's looking to get in with that Wraith Form. There's the team on the point as well, but it's just trickling on. This is not a winnable fight in any way, shape, or form, and it's really just a matter of time. They're so entrenched. Ref's now the one holding the timer open. And
don't forget, oh, look at the overtime. Look how far.
There it goes. The new overtime. That's it right there, and what a sweet hold by Jam, evening up the series.
Let's talk about what Peels did just then. I don't know if you caught that, but Peels got the most beautiful 5-man hammer down I have ever seen so far from these guys playing. Wow, that was spectacular. Not only did he get that 5-man hammer down, but it's what Jam did afterwards that really happened. I mean, look at A-Tire immediately coming in for the cleanup. 5 people hammered down, stunned, and the rest of Jam immediately jumping on that. That secured him. Their team jammed that last final push against Spreadsheet, and their Spreadsheet going on the desperation plays. They went for the Tracer, they went for the Diva, but it wasn't enough. With the new overtime rules, with the new overtime changes coming into play, you just don't have enough time to stall out the point, and there you go, Jam going to take number 2.
You know, I think Untitled are actually in serious threat of dropping a match here for the first time in God knows how long.
Hold the phone right here. What's this?
I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I just want to say, honestly, Jam played better. Oh, RQT picked off. That's what it is. And now the Winston trying to go deep to find a Jim repositions. Now he's going to mow down Marsh. He's doing work. This is a ridiculous strategy, and it is working so well. Jam Gaming, they had a secret strat, and they're going to be the first ones to cap this point. I think they might be able to hold it. They already played better than Untitled in the last control point map. I think if they can do it again, I think they can do it again,
they need to get Jameb up onto the high ground, this little back ledge platform at the back of the point. I'm not talking about the server room, I'm talking about the other side of the map. And I think the way they're going to play this now is you see Mokyun on the Lucio. Whenever Spreadsheet want to engage this Bastion setup, he's going to immediately disassemble himself, Lucio speed boost out of the way, and reset up, and Spreadsheet won't be able to catch this guy. That's going to be Jam's game plan. Watch this.
This is a cheeky flank. This is a really cheeky flank. They're trying to get in behind it. Mosh to go in first. GNB as well. GMAB's just mowing people down, but they do find him. He does not find anyone himself. Mosh does finally fall down, but the mech was the crucial part of that. And they found GMAB as well. ATAR, Peels all going down. And this is a really convincing push. Ref's the one on the point to cap it, and unfortunately the Bastion didn't quite pay off. Really quick adaptation by Untitled Spreadsheet.
They didn't really make the sort of play I was hoping to see. In fact, I didn't really like the positioning either. The way they were positioned actually made it really easy for Spreadsheet to engage on them, because, you know, there's a lot of walls. They got to come down the stairs, and it's just kind of not the best place to hold if you have a Bastion. They should have held on the back point, and they should have used the speed boost to disengage. But speaking of speed boost, here comes Spreadsheet for another fight.
Yeah, Mosh have gone really deep in for this one. Peel's going to throw down the hammer down. That's a huge one! And there's a Transcendence out from RQT. It's going to keep this team just barely in the race, but Yuki and Raz already down. GNB needs to find a huge black hole to turn this one around. Peels falls over. Marsh going to be popped out of that mech before long, no doubt. Mokyun is the one doing that work for some reason. Peels the only one down from the attacking team. A-Tar nearly has a Dragon Blade, and I'm looking forward to seeing it come out. He takes out Refs, and there's a Dragon Blade available, but they're going to get the cap, so he has now got that for the defense. What a great cap in response.
Well, Jam are back now with their standard lineup. They are still 4% behind on the cap point timer, but they're going to make their catch up pretty soon. I'm just going to say, though, that especially going to come on this time with 5 ultimates. They're ready to take this point. Here we go.
Starting with the black hole, but A-Tide goes deep with the Dragon Blade. There's a huge nerf. No one can quite get out. Where's the team? It's a wipe. It's an almost complete wipe. Peel's the only one left, and he falls over to the Death Blossom. What an insane nuke! They're going to cap that point, no two ways about that. How on earth are Jam going to pull this one out?
Well, you know, the good thing for Jam is that Spreadsheet actually used all of the ultimates. Yuki even used a Dragon Blade for that. I don't know if it was completely necessary. I felt like the Diva on the Black Hole were enough to secure that point. So now Jameb's got his Jedi ready, and Peels is going to have another hammer down pretty soon. They need to be able to use that to engage. Yuki got to pick up Jameb straight away.
Jameb's down! Yuki doing heaps of work there. Now Yuki's just keeping everyone as far away from the point as possible. Mokyun is trying to do work on the front line with Michello, but they're so split off from the rest of the pack. Michello with that Discord orb drops down. and Mokian going to be soon to follow. Great work there by Yuki just to keep that space, going to stop up this push. Now, Jam need to regroup quickly and push through a lot of ground to get onto this point because the time is running out for them.
Yeah, 80%, 83% now. Basically, you have one solid push left. You can't waste any more time. If you don't make a push before 90%, you're going to waste too much time. Here come a beautiful surround
right at the start. Oh, they don't quite find anyone with that, but both Tranquility is going to go out. Marsh is already out and down for the count at the start of the fight. No picks off just yet. They're trying to do as much work as they can. Aita goes down, but he's taking him out of the fight. That could be huge. Atar is such a playmaker, but Peels is doing so much work. No, Machillo and Mokian have already gone down. Does Atar as well. Now Peels soon to follow. A great death blossom by Raz, and a sweet cleanup by the rest of the team is going to secure it for Untitled Spreadsheet. It looked like the Giant was going to bleed, but they seem to be so in control.
Okay, that is such a heartbreaker for Atar because he wanted to use his Dragon Blade, and I felt like he could have made the play there, but Yuki shut him down with his own Dragon Blade. It was the Genji that pulled his sword first, the Genji that made the kills, and if Atar had managed to get a sword out, we might have seen a different result, but Yuki, the player who secured that last point by shutting down Atar at a crucial moment, getting the rest of kills on Jam, and you're in the meta right now where teams are not playing Mercy on Koth anymore. And if you're not going to play Mercy on Koth, if you lose the fight, that's it. No one's getting resurrected. It's all or nothing. All your eggs in the same basket. You got to break it. You got to absolutely win it with what you got. And if you can't, well, that's the game.
Yeah, really kind of shaky performance on the very first map there by Jam, but honestly in the second two, like I said, it looked like for a moment they were going to make the Giants bleed. The second one, they just looked like the better team, hands down. And even on the third one, that was close stuff, man. That was really close stuff, and you're right, it was a lot of that being Yuki on that very last push, just totally secured it. Imagine how much damage Atar would have been able to do with that Dragon Blade had Yuki not found him right at the top of that fight. So good hold there by Untitled Spreadsheet, but they're not looking as dominant as they once were, and I don't think that's because they're playing bad. I think it's because Jam Gaming are just playing really good. I'm really excited to see what they do on this next map.
About the Bastion play, it was kind of good in the sense that you threw Spreadsheet off guard. They weren't expecting that. Teams don't expect that. I didn't expect that. That was weird. I'm not too sure what to say about it except this. You won the first fight. That was good, but you didn't get enough pressure to secure a tank form for your Bastion. This is what you actually need to be looking for. If you're going to play Bastion, you basically expect that you wipe the other enemy team, maybe they fall out, whatever they do, they go away, they come back ready to counter you. When they come back, if you don't have a tank form ready, or if you don't have enough time to stall for a tank form Bastion, you're going to have a really bad time with your lineup because it's going to get hard counted, especially now that D.Va has been buffed, especially on Koth, where you got limited spaces to hide. They didn't actually hide, they didn't actually reset up in a favorable position, and I mean, I mentioned earlier they could have used a speed boost to reposition when they got engaged. They didn't do that either, and I just feel like they didn't get enough mileage out of that strat, and I think they only got I actually can't remember exactly how much cap percentage they got, but it wasn't enough. If they had gotten a more dominating cap percentage off of that strategy, they could have afforded to throw another fight. They would have had a bit more time. They would have felt less pressured, because this Koth, it very much just comes down to how much pressure you can put on the other team via the cap percentage, and they just didn't get enough headway with that strat. It was good, they just needed something a little bit extra.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I honestly feel like it was the sort of strategy that would work even better against a less good team, put simply. When you're not going to reposition that Bastion, you're assuming that the enemy team isn't going to make a quick adaptation. And I'm sorry, this is Untitled Spreadsheet. They are smart players. They are good players. They will make that adaptation. You have to assume that that's going to happen. And hey, it's exactly what they did. So you're dead right. They actually got punished there. I don't even think it was so much underestimating Untitled Spreadsheet. I just imagine that that's a strategy that they would have pulled out in scrims against other teams that aren't quite, currently topping the table. Untitled Spreadsheet.
They have actually pulled that strat out against Untitled Spreadsheet before. I've seen them do it against Spreadsheet on the poll when I was actually playing for them. And it's the sort of strategy they use under Paul, and I guess it's a different map. Sure, it's inside the Sanctum, but they play the Bastion. You try and engage them with the Lucio, and they reposition with their own Lucio. And it's really annoying to chase after that Bastion, and it worked really beautifully. They didn't do that here. They didn't use that strategy here on Control Center, but I think the biggest thing once again is that he just didn't have the tank form. You really need the tank form to be able to secure a second fight. If you can secure the first fight by surprising the enemy, and then you secure the second fight by using tank form, then you've got enough cap advantage. But if you don't have that, you only win one fight. It's just not enough. I think Jam are going to have to step up something pretty massive. Dorado, they're going to have to pick up a lot of the slack from Lijiang. It wasn't bad, but you know, I still think a lot of the advantages that Jam have for Koth or for King of the Hill is ATAR on the Genji. Let's see how friendly Dorado is going to be for Genji. If it's not completely friendly for Genji, then they're going to struggle a little bit, because that is ATAR's man here. I'm not saying he can't play other things, but definitely on the back of ATAR's Genji is what Jam have, how they've been winning a lot of their games. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do for this map, and how their picks are going to go.
Yeah, he certainly incorporates a lot into their strategies. They can rely on him creating space for them and making plays, especially on these payload maps. We actually had an interview with them after their game with Tainted Minds, where they talked about that they quite like to play a fairly measured and controlled style on these payload maps. You know, slow and steady wins the race kind of thing. And ATAR ties into that a lot because, like I said, he kind of goes a bit ahead of the team. It makes space for them, gives them the time to set up those quite slow and steady strategies on payload maps. They're not so much, brawl, like get a big fight and just blast on through and then do that again and then do that again. They're very much make space, constantly skirmish, keep the payload trucking on forward. And I think Dorado is actually one of the maps that really lends itself to that as well, especially through those first 3 points. The last one is a little bit different, I mean, as tends to be the case with all payload maps. But in any case, I believe we are ready to jump on in. I'm pretty excited to see this one, actually. I mean, for one thing, it's always a pleasure to see these teams play on payload maps. I think it's a pleasure to see them play on anything, but I'm excited for that potential honor.
I'm expecting Mokyun to pick that one up if they're on attack, and I do believe Red Team are on attack, so I don't know, I'm not completely convinced. I'm not a massive fan of Ana. I think Ana's great and all, but for the current meta, there's just other things. Here you go, Mokyun's already mousing over that Ana pick, as I predicted.
They've done that every game, though. I don't know what to think.
I think Ana has a place on certain points on this map. First point, I'm not completely sure. Second point, you have some good sniping angles. Still not great. Third point, you have really bad sniping angles, but then again, you're really just wanting to use Ana for the ulti. I mean, we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm still not really sure about it. I think Jam, if they stick to their guns and they stick to what they know, what they're good at, they're going to be able to pull something really good out. I really trust Jameb's McCree. And I think ATAR plays a really solid soldier and obviously an amazing Genji. So if they stick to what they know and what they're good at, I think they have a really good shot. I think they can really take Jam down with that.
Yeah, and actually I think this first little point just out of the spawn area is one of the few places on this map that does lend itself to Ana, because you can get a bit of high ground with that. But in any case, we do have the lineup of the defenders here, and actually I'm having a little bit of an issue with that. There we go. It's been solved. I couldn't actually see what anyone's heroes were for a moment there, and now it all seems to be fixed. So pretty stock standard defensive lineup coming out, and Mokyun is going to change off that Ana onto the Lucio instead.
The only thing that's not stock standard that is a bit weird is you've got GMB onto the Xayah. It's not completely weird, but a lot of teams often always also decide maybe they want to use a Roadhog for that pick as well. So it's sort of a decision that your team makes, whether you want to go for the Roadhog, maybe you don't want to go for the Roadhog. But both teams are actually going to opt to run a Xayah on this point, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, really both teams are trying to poke out for a little bit here, and this is a playstyle that favors Jam for now. Like I was saying before, this is what they're quite a lot more comfortable doing. They're just keeping that payload trucking on forward. There's only so much ground that Untitled Spreadsheet can cede before they have to go in and fight, but their ultimates aren't really ready for it just yet. Mosh is already pretty low. It's going to be top.
Here we go, Jam want to go
find someone. They're looking for someone, but Peels has already gone down to the top of this fight, so it's
maybe on the side
to fight, but oh, Mosh as well. Dozer's fallen over. This doesn't look like quite a full-fledged fight. Raz is going to try and do some work to run the attacking side down. It is going to work for now. They've zoned off the aggressors and going to give themselves a few more seconds on the clock. But this is a lot of room now for Jam if they could make a good push, because that's a long walk for Mosh.
I was going to say Jam did a really good job of pushing the card up and getting some really good distance on the card. The really unfortunate thing was Peels went down really early in that fight. They just didn't have the shield up, whereas Mosh still had a shield up, and he's actually going to get a hammer down coming up pretty soon. Ultimate's going in the way of Untitled Spreadsheet. Here comes the sound wave. There's the hammer down.
And they find Yuki. They find Yuki on the back line. Now there's going to be a Deadeye on the side. They don't quite find anyone, and that's the defending Transcendence for now. Jimeb gets run down, though. They had some really great picks to start it off, but my god, Untitled Spreadsheet are just hammering on to the aggressors now, and absolutely no ground gained by Jam there.
Yeah, I mean, Jam, they didn't trade ults really effectively there. They used a sound wave and didn't really get that much out of it. Jameb even used a Deadeye. You use 2 of your own ults in a situation where you're actually down on ults. You should be saving ults in the situation to try and get some ults out of your other team so you can get an ult advantage. They're not going to come into this third fight.
They're going for another one. That's a really great reactive Transcendence to stop up Raz's Death Blossom, but that's a sick black hole. Going to catch almost all of the team. They're hammered down to follow, and this is just a slaughterhouse. Michello peels, Atar does a fall, lock in to follow, and now Jimep the only one alive. Untitled Spreadsheet are not even ceding an inch.
No, I think there's a lack of discipline coming out from the Jam team at the moment. They're really just quite, from what I can tell, a little bit desperate to get on the point, to get on the cap. Not only that, but they're throwing ultimates into the side of Spreadsheet, and it's not very effective because they're only ever getting a couple of ultis at a time. They throw them into Spreadsheet. Spreadsheet repel those ultimates with ultis of their own, and you can see that Spreadsheet are the ones who always have an ultimate advantage because Jam are just not saving and coordinating those.
Yeah, and here it is again. Oh, and Dozer already picked off, so it's going to be a long way away, that Transcendence. Good call here, just backing up here. Oh, and another pick.
Oh, Atar as well.
Atar, what? They're not even falling back successfully. Sometimes you just need to turn and leg it, and I feel like not enough respect is being given to Raz here.
You know what? If Jam had held their ultimates and they had saved for combos, they might have been able to make a push already, but the way Untitled Spreadsheet now are playing, you know, Jam are struggling to get their plays together. They finally got a couple of good ultis. Michello's got a black hole. Atar's got the Death Blossom. If they can get that together, they can make a push. This is exactly what they need now. They have to get that combo off if they want to make something happen. 1:30 left on the clock. Time is running out for Jam right now.
They're going to go for it. They want to look for that big black hole. Going to start with the Sound Barrier High Noon to come up the attacking side. Jameb, yeah, forced to cancel that High Noon as he falls over. Michello still can't find the black hole. He's just trying to DPS out Mosh's shield. That's never going to work out for you. He finally finds it, catches 3, but there's a defensive Transcendence.
There's Atar.
Atar, he's going in, he's trying to get in position for it, looking for a Death Blossom, can't quite find the right spot. Now he goes for it, finds Yuki. He's nearly there. He's right in the middle of 4 of them, but he just does not quite find the position to press the button. And again, the attack gets stopped up. Atar, I feel like there were opportunities for him to use that there. He could have cleaned that fight out.
You know what? The way Atar played that, he basically looked at the situation and said, okay, there's a black hole, but there's a Transcendence. It's going to pretty much completely cancel the Death Blossom. RQT using that Transcendence as soon as the black hole comes out. 40 seconds left. Here comes a counter black hole. Atar going to cancel the slide.
Mosh goes down. Mosh goes down with that Earth Shatter available. Now Peels has his. Raz is already gone. Yuki's
no res.
Now they're going to find it. G&B falls over. RQT is already gone. It's just refs. And this is going to be the point cap. At long last, Jam seem to just find their legs and blast on through. They've got a long march ahead of them, though.
Finally, really, I mean, a big part of that was disabling Mosh when he had an ult. I mean, that was one of Spreadsheet's big ways to complete that hold. They needed the Earth Shadow to hold off Jam Gaming, and you know, Jam finally coming through with the picks they needed. I was going to mention a little bit earlier, but didn't get a chance to. But you're actually not seeing any mercies being played on either lineups today, on either map. But especially on Dorado, what that means on defense in particular is that you only get one fight, and it's actually really hard to defend because usually the attackers only need to win one fight to get a point, and you need to get the res to actually defend the point. Without the res, what exactly happens is you have to give it up.
Yeah, it's the long walk, as I like to call it. Michello, by the way, changing over to that Diva, I really like that adaptation. Doing a lot of work for them. Just trying to create a bit of chaos up on that defensive position.
Look at the card movement.
Yeah, this is exactly, like, despite the really great defensive position here by Untitled, the cart hasn't stopped moving. Like, this is exactly what Jam like to do, and it's just working for them. Untitled aren't even stopping it, really.
Oh, Michello loses the mech. Peel's still got the cart moving. If they can get the cart under the archway, Spreadsheet will be forced to take a fight. Look, they're getting ready to drop down now. They want to take it. They have to take a fight.
Got it there. That's right on through. There's the hammer down to open it up. It's big, but there's a defensive sound barrier. Mosh falls over. GMAP still has the Deadeye available. Doesn't when transcendence when he needs it. Atar as well with the Death Blossom. They might be able to clean this one up yet. No, Atar falls over. Does as well to follow. A really nice black hole there by GNB to secure that. They needed to pick the fight, and they found it. Despite Mosh going down.
It was good. But I kind of wish Jam threw the fight a little bit harder. This sounds weird, I'm saying Jam should have thrown the fight. Yes, that's correct. They got the cart movement up. They forced the ultimates out of Untitled Spreadsheet. Now they can take whatever fight they want, but they lost one ult. They lost their Hammer Down Earth Shatter. If they'd kept that, they can now come back to the point with Doz's and Atar's ult, get a combo going off, and with the card movement being made, they can make any sort of push they want. Here you actually see they're coming out from the top church side, knowing that the card's moved up, they can really just do anything now.
This is a really nice position. I like how they're looking to do this brawl. Marsh has gone down at the top of the fight. That's big. He did get the Earth Shatter down, but Michello, he's still nice and healthy. He has plenty of opportunity to do some work. Finally gets popped out of the mech. And this is the rest of the team actually getting completely wiped out now as Dozer gets charged a long way away from the team.
The way these teams are sort of playing the fights is interesting because of the way that the teams have no mercies. A lot of the playstyle right now heavily depends on the picks you make. Every pick you make in a fight is permanent. You do not have to worry about that guy coming back to life with the res. A lot of the previous meta relied upon, okay, you kill this guy, but is he going to come back from a res? Probably. You're going to have to kill him again. Now that every player dies upon an actual death, I mean, it really sets the pace. It really changes the way you have to sort of play this game.
Oh, nothing found with the high noon there by Jim Ebb, and they're looking to get back on the payload. They have it moving. Untitled Spreadsheet going to go for the same kind of fight as before, but this time I think Jammer in a slightly better position to go against it with where Jim Ebb is standing. That's a really, really strong opener.
Oh, Michello gets a double!
That's a huge one for him. That's the strong opener I was talking about. Marsh and IQT, those are big. GNB does have a black hole, and Yuki could follow that one up, so they need to route out those two. That's going to be the black hole. Can they find any kind of follow-up? No, Yuki does not quite have it. Dozer doesn't have a Transcendence available, but he doesn't even need it either. Yuki and refs fall over, and this is going to be another point cap. The overtime will run down before long. Now it's going to be all about making space. This last point, you have to get a big fight. And actually, ultimate advantage is currently with Jam. I think they can do it.
So once again, Jam won that fight, and
IQT as well! Oh, I'm sorry to take the one away from you, but they're actually continuing. They're making the space with Cello doing a ton of work. They're finding GNB and RQT. It's going to be a lot of ground made for the payload, and there's going to be maybe one good fight for the defenders now.
Let's consider this. It looks flashy, but the cart couldn't move because it has to get through the gate. So unfortunately, they won't be able to get as much out of that as they would have liked. I was going to say, Jam won that second point the same way they won the first point. They got the first two picks, and then they converted that into further. Peels had a really amazing shield block against Yuki's Deadeye. That Deadeye was the only way for Spreadsheet to get back into the defense. Here comes Spreadsheet. Oh, beautiful hammer down!
And this is a huge clean sweep. Raz going big on the backline. Now he's looking for Jimep. He's already found a bunch. Atar, Dozer, they're all down and out for the count. Mokin to fall over. Peel's nearly out of the picture. Jimep pretty much the only one to live despite the hard dive, and that is a really, really solid defense. Jimep crucially blew his Deadeye earlier. He could have just let the cooldown run out and kept it at half, but he blew it with just 1 second left and no one in his sight. An absolutely rookie mistake.
I want to talk about Peels for a second, because he almost carried that fight for Jam again. Almost. Jam didn't win that fight, but what Peels did actually do is, you see RQT use a Transcendence. Peels actually managed to charge RQT away, so the Transcendence wasn't effective in that fight at all. Unfortunately, they didn't win the fight, but they're running out of time once again, Jam. 25 seconds left on the clock. They're under pressure. Can they make it enough?
I don't know if they can. That's a really, really clutch Tranquility, though, to keep Jim Ev alive, and that's absolutely crucial. Atar is trying to do what work he can right now. He's on top of the right half. Marsh falls over. That could be some room, but Peels is already down, and the nuke is also not available from Michello. Jim Ev falls over at the same time as RQT for the defending side. Yuki, he falls over. Atar might be able to do some work here. He's the only one left, but he's trying to do what he can, at the very least, buy some time. Keep that overtime alive, but no, he's not close enough to the payload, and that is going to be it for Jam Gaming. That's one hell of a hold they're going to need to make if they want to turn this map around and take it away from Untitled Spreadsheet.
Oh, you know, Jam spent a lot of time on the first point, and I think that's actually where a lot of the mistakes happened. They took so long to get that first point. I just feel like there was a really massive lack of discipline coming from the Jam side. They're more experienced than I expect more from a team like Jam. They're a lot better than what they showed on their first point. They really started to take it back on points 2 and 3, but I think by that time, the timer had run out. You only get 10 minutes per map, and if you spend 5 of those minutes on the first point, well, you're going to struggle on the second 2 points because you need a lot of time to get the wraparounds. You need the time to make the pushes on the last 2 points, because the first point is actually not the hardest point. Your hardest points are still yet to come, so you just cannot be making those kind of mistakes on the very first point. And
yeah,
more patience for Jam. I just want to see more patience for Jam. Hold more of your ultimates together, wait for more combos, and create better opportunities for yourself to actually get in on that point.
You made a really good point as well about that last point. Michello did a lot of work on that Diva, making space, but the payload, it's stuck still at that point, and it can't move any faster than those doors will allow. So as much as that would have been great on pretty much any other map, and like I said, that's exactly how Jam Gaming plays, on that one particular point of Dorado, it just doesn't work. It just can't work. And when you don't have that sort of time available, you can't afford to do things that just don't work.
Yeah, I think if Jam want to take this map, they really have to do a lot better on this defense in terms of, like, the first point in particular. I mean, Spreadsheet held out Jam for a very long time on the first point, and if Jam want to make something happen, they're going to have to do really well on the first point. Hold on, you actually see Atar onto the Genji already. It's a little bit questionable because Genji doesn't have the best movement on the first point. Genji really shines from the second point on, particularly on the second point. Third point, kind of debatable. Second point, Genji's amazing on both offense and defense. First point, I'm a little bit not too sure. Once again, both teams are not running a Mercy, so these are two of the best scenes in the region. Once again, setting the pace. I believe, you know, if you haven't caught up to speed with where the meta is, if you're a lower tier team or a new team watching this, you're probably going to think, is this a good idea? Maybe we don't want to run a Mercy either. There's definitely a strong reason why these teams aren't doing it right now.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that reason might actually be the Transcendence, because as much as the res is great for negating ultimates insofar as you can res whoever dies from an ultimate, the Transcendence actually stops them up in the sense that if your healer gets caught up in the ultimate as well, you're not completely done for, and I think that's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Difference of risk.
If the
Mercy dies in the ultimate, no res. Tough cheese.
I still think Mercy is incredibly important for the defense. Just as I said earlier, the only way you hold that defense is if your players are still there. Attacks, you get multiple chances to attack. Defenders, you don't get multiple times to defend. If you lose a defense, that's your point gone, and the only way you can keep the defense is potentially with a Mercy. So it's very risky, in my opinion, to not have a Mercy on defense, but we'll see how they go. Dozer is going to be on that
this is the point to fight. Peels, he's already gone in and gone down at the top of the fight. Raz as well, though. Atai is just charging up that ultimate as best as he can. No real fight there, just a little bit of a brawl, but Peels has got a much longer walk back to that fight zone, to that massive courtyard in the middle there, than Yuki will.
Something I want to touch upon what you said. Oh, actually, I'll wait because the spreadsheet.
This is the watch. Marshy's looking for it, goes in with the charge. Atar, he's looking ready to try and get on the back line, but he's in a lot of trouble, gets stunned up and taken down, dropped out. Michello has already fallen over at the top of that fight, doesn't to be caught out as well. And then Peels soon to follow, even though he only just arrived back in. Jimab as well, low and probably going to die here, Moki the last one left. There's no point in him even hanging around. That's going to be a point cap for Untitled Spreadsheet, looking a lot more convincing than Jam at that point.
Untitled Spreadsheet and Jam traded one player each on that first point. We'll get to these players pushing up so far. Looks like Untitled Spreadsheet just want to make a bit of room here, but the point is, if you have a one-to-one trade, defenders lose that trade. That's not a good trade for you as a defender. Your players take way longer to get back to the point than the attackers do. It's a very attack-favored point. All of the first points are, really. If you lose a play on defense and you trade a player on offense, your player gets their way slower than their player. It's not a good trade. You have to get two players for their one player to really have an effective trade on the defense. So this is, again, why I think Mercy is good, because you need to be able to get those players back into the point really quickly.
Yeah, speaking of quick movement, look at how slow it's taken Jam to get up to this defensive position here, and that's really just with the time that they all died. All ultimates are available though. We're going to see a huge fight any minute now, either just before or just after this bridge, and this is going to be big. This is where I think Jam Game might be able to thrive, but Cello's gone down, he's looking for it, that's a big black hole! GMP and Marsh just dropped at the top of the fight, that's so huge, the sound barrier not enough to hold.
Yuki on the back line, Yuki on the back line!
Yuki's trying to do what he can, he's going as big as he possibly can, and he falls over! That's a huge pickup, and now the attackers are the ones with the long walk, as only Daza falls over with an ultimate still available. There was only 2 ults used by the attackers as well in exchange for the 2 big defensive ults in that Transcendence and Sound Barrier.
Rips is going to go onto the Lucio here. Untitled Spreadsheet going to play to their normal playstyle, which involves a lot of speed. Lucio speed boost. They need to use a speed boost. Here we go, 5 ultis versus 4 ultis. It's still looking good for Jam, but they need to contest a point. They can't let the cart move up that far.
He's looking for IQT and he finds him. That's a big one to start the fight off. It's a nice big pick. He finds Marsh as well despite the hammer down, and now Sound Barrier as well for the defenders. This is looking to be a clean-up as he finds Yuki. He finds GNP. Atar is just off the chain tonight.
Not only him, but Peel's really pulled his way to the last point as well. Although Jam won that point, it wasn't clean enough in the sense that they used too many ultimates. Look at the ultimate advantages now. Untitled Spreadsheet only had about 4 ultimates going in. They only used 1. Jam, they used everything. So now Spreadsheet's going to probably take this fight. They have the ultimate advantage. They have
they open with a black hole. That's a big one. And now Raz just goes to town on top of it with the Dragon Blade out. Finds 4 members of the defending side single-handedly, and now going total hunter killer on Jimeb, looking for him, and definitely finds him there.
Yeah,
total clean sweep.
That was complete.
6 stack.
That was definitely expected, and the reason for that was they're actually going to catch on a couple more players here. Respawners. Machello's in trouble as well. Can he make it out of this one?
I don't think he can. There's still got a couple of ultimates available. Marsh is going deep. Swinging the hammer. Machello barely lives. Marshall's one of the key ultimates. He's got a fair walk back to that payload now himself. Yuki has the Deadeye available, but now there's Atar and Jimep on the defense with some ultimates. So starting to even it up a little bit, and Jam Gaming might be able to find a favorable fight, but it's going to be down to the meters whether or not they're able to hold this.
Well, you know, the ultimates are evened up again. The big one to consider is that Atar actually has a Dragon Blade. If they use that and capitalize on it effectively, they can get the kill. Machello's going to get his ultimate up.
High noon. It's a really early Deadeye. Jimeb, he clicked the button. He clicked the button when he didn't need to. He was not going to catch anyone. Big hit down, but Mosh dies, and there's going to be no follow-up now. That's just wasted Earthshatter. Yuki falls out as well, and this is a hold by the defending side here, actually. The only ultimate being used was that Deadeye, and I feel like that must be a misclick.
Well, you know, the only thing they can really get out of that is, well, we wasted a Deadeye, but Mosh wasted an Earthshatter. So they actually got a trade out of that. That was an unintentional trade. I think Mosh really made a mistake there. He either fat-fingered that, or he thought his team was going to go, and maybe the call was, Mosh, please use Earthshatter, but he used it completely into his shield. Untitled Spreadsheet doing the safe thing there, doing the smart thing, backing out, not using anything else, understanding that they probably lost that fight. Here we go, another push going to come in. They have more ultimate this time. Here goes a really nice
black hole to start it off, but there's the Transcendence to defend. Raz! He nearly gets picked off.
He heals it so forward.
Days of life goes back to the Transcendence. That's a nice big hammer down, and now the Deadeye is about to come out from the aggressors. Yuki already down, Peel's down for the defending side, and Jimeb cleans house with the Deadeye. Now he's just looking for RQT. Mosh forced way back, caught in the flashbang. RQT gets a discord onto Jimep, but it's really just pithy orbs at this point. RQT floats away in vain as he falls over, and a really great hold. Dozer still has a Transcendence available, but they do need to get their other ults charged ASAP.
Yeah. It's a great hold, but it has to be a better hold because they have to hold for another 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Remember, Jam cannot let Spreadsheet cap this point. If Spreadsheet cap, they win because they held Jam on the previous offense round. So all Spreadsheet have to do is manage to get this cap. Here come the speed boost coming in.
Jimeb going deep to try and find Mosh.
Down
comes in. Atar is already down at the top of the fight, and Raz is looking to get that ultimate up as quickly as possible. There's a really nice back hole, catches a couple. Jimeb to fall over as Raz starts doing some work, and that's just everyone down.
That's gonna be it because there's no res.
Yeah, that's almost certainly a cap. Atar the only one up, and he's really just too low to do it. It's in meters, and Untitled Spreadsheet make it look effortless. I thought the Giants were gonna bleed tonight. Jam looked so convincing on Lijiang Tower and nearly took it out, but on Dorado, again, Untitled Spreadsheet have proved that they are the best team in this league.
I want to talk a little bit about what Jam did, particularly on the second point. There's a couple of things I wanted to address but didn't get a chance to. Didn't really have the time for it, but on this point specifically, this is Untitled Spreadsheet's last push onto the second point, the one that won them the point, the one that secured them the chance to move on to the third point. What actually happened there was Jam looked really good. They had their ultimates up, but they used everything way too greedy. That once again, not being patient enough, not disciplined enough. They needed to keep more ultis. They needed to realize, okay, we've got enough ultis to win the fight. We only need to use X and Y ultis. We save the rest. They blew their entire load and didn't have enough to defend the next fight. And then Untitled Spreadsheet come in, 3 ultis versus 0. Of course they're going to win that fight. That's their fight to win. Jam could have held that, but they just didn't keep anything. They had no reserves. They ran out of ammunition, could not reload, and Spreadsheet took full advantage of it.
Yeah, Jam Gaming are a team that is just a little bit more confident on offense in general. So, you know, it's a shame to see it not work out for them on the defense there. But you know, those are things that they can take away and improve on. You know, and in a sense, it's good when you are a team that is doing as well as Jam Gaming are, and you still have clear things you can improve on, because then you go ahead and improve on them, and you come out looking even better the next time, and you keep doing that, and suddenly you become the team that's topping the standings. We are going to have a couple of the players in from both teams, I believe, coming in for an interview. We already have RQT sitting in with us from Untitled Spreadsheets. We should be grabbing someone else from Jam Gaming as well. But first, RQT, while we've got you here, pretty big win for you guys. Looks a little bit dicey on Lijiang, so you guys must be feeling pretty good that you're able to pull out the win here tonight.
Yeah, that Reinhardt kind of got us off guard on both points. But on the last point, they ran that Bastion, and we just swapped our heroes and went on them.
Yeah, and we have Dozer in here from Jam Gaming, so I'm going to ask you the flip side of that question. Everything was looking pretty good earlier on. You struggled on the very first point of Lijiang, but on the second one, you honestly looked like the better team, hands down. Unfortunately, didn't quite all come through for you guys tonight. So, first of all, how are you feeling about that, and what do you think went wrong?
Yeah, it was a pretty tough match. Just Spreadsheet showing how dominant they are still. To be honest, we had high hopes at Lijiang. We got that second map back and brought it to 1-0, and got the first push with the Bastion pick on the last map. We thought that really caught them off guard, but they regrouped strongly and took their time and got the insta Bastion kill, and before he could get ult, and couldn't really break it back from there.
On the note of that Bastion pick, I do actually want to ask a few questions about that. Is that something you guys have practiced specifically for Lijiang control point, or is that something you thought you had to pull out in order to secure Lijiang? Because I have seen you guys pull that straight out on Nepal, but Lijiang is a completely different map, and how prepared were you to bring that straight out for Lijiang?
Yeah, look, it's obviously known that we use it quite a bit on Nepal, but yeah, you're right, we haven't used it a whole lot on Lijiang. It was just a quick sort of team discussion at the start of that round. We thought it could catch them off guard, and it did work initially.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate that...
I made a couple of comments in the cast to Pixie that I felt like you guys may have done a bit better with the Bastion had you repositioned a little bit better. I kind of felt like the position that you ended up keeping Bastion in was a little bit too easy for Spreadsheet to re-engage on. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, for sure. As hard as it is to sort of question our positioning, I thought it was a lot of credit goes to Spreadsheet there, because they went hard left for us, so they went hard right, and they actually pushed right around, and that really did sort of reveal our positioning a lot there. We didn't expect them to do that. We thought they would just come through mid.
Yeah, and props to that quick adaptation as well, and it kind of segues quite neatly into my next question for RQT, because this is something I'm actually kind of itching to ask you guys, and I imagine some of your viewers and fans might be as well. That was a really quick decision. Who is the brains behind that? Who on your team makes those calls for you guys?
It was actually like an actual pretty good team decision, but as soon as obviously it killed me at the very start on that first push. Everyone just slowly died after that, and then we just like, okay, we need to change something. What do we do? So we grabbed the D.Va instead of the Winston, and swapped to Genji as well, and just shut down the Bastion with the mobility. I don't think it would have even mattered where they moved it with the changes to D.Va and stuff. It's really, really weak.
Staying on the topic of Lijiang, I want to bring it back to Dozer a little bit. One of the other picks that you guys made for Lijiang is, of course, the Reinhardt. Reinhardt is not particularly hasn't particularly seen that much play on King of the Hill in particular. So why don't you just sort of run us through the decision making there about why you guys wanted to use the Reinhardt, how that went for you, and if it was particularly effective from your point of view?
Yeah, sure. So we actually think Reinhardt's sort of entering the meta a little bit for Koth, because if you have one team with the Reinhardt, obviously he's going to get a lot easier ults down if the other team doesn't have a Reinhardt with their shield holding it up. So we thought we'd definitely run that Reinhardt. I can't remember if Spreadsheet actually decided to run a Reinhardt in the end,
Nope.
but yeah, we thought the Reinhardt worked in the second map, definitely. And then obviously with the Bastion pick as well, we needed the Reinhardt. But once the Bastion was killed, we probably could have gone with switching off the Reinhardt. But generally, I thought the ults were pretty good from him and useful. So.
And I've got another one for you, Dozer, bringing into that second map on Dorado. First of all, to state the obvious, you guys kind of struggled a little bit on that first point and took quite a while to break through. You did eventually, though. So what wasn't working? What did you change? And similar to what I asked RQT, how does that decision-making process work for you guys? Who makes that call?
Yeah, well, obviously our main shot caller is obviously Jimeb. He's the in-game leader, but then apart from him doing most of the calls, it's sort of spread evenly amongst the team, mostly Peels and myself. Basically, I think we just need to sort of go back to the basics there. There wasn't really anything amazing that could have changed the game. I think we had the right draft. We were just sort of getting stuck under the bridge at that first point. We're aware that we were doing it. We just couldn't quite fix it. But yeah, getting stuck and taking too much poke damage from the other team under that bridge, whereas we should have been committing to our pushes a bit more and actually running in and pushing through their Reinhardt, I think, and going for their Zenny and McCree, but just couldn't quite get the job done.
We actually threw that defense point at the end. We thought you had used your Zenyatta ult, so we went a bit ham when we shouldn't have.
Yeah, that's right. It's hard to time the Zenny ults. Just like you guys, I think you used it very well. You used your Reinhardt hammers and your Zarya ults and your Genji ults sort of all at different times. So we really struggled with ult management, especially on that first point.
Yeah, we were really good with it.
I'll go next with my question, and this is sort of I'll throw it to RQT first, I guess, because Doz has had a bit of a chance to speak now. But one thing I'm really noticing from both your teams at the moment is that for both maps, on Koth and on Hybrid, is that no teams are running Mercy now. I just want to sort of get to the reasons that you guys are thinking for that, and sort of where you see the meta heading in terms of no longer running Mercies on these maps.
Zenyatta is just super strong at the moment, and the ult is a res in its own way. You can't really drop the Lucio. That speed boost is just so pivotal for being able to disengage and take fights when you want. So the logical step is to either get another support or drop the Mercy for the Zenyatta.
Right. I'll bring it to Dozer really quick, but the point I made about the defense in particular was I still feel like on hybrid maps, defense can't afford to really lose fights. The offense, you get a lot of chances to make fights. You make a fight, you fail it, cool, you push again. On the defense, if you lose a fight, well, that basically translates to you losing the point. And something that I kind of pointed out is that Mercy did a really good job of keeping the defense alive when you failed the fight. So Dozer, you guys don't run a Mercy on any of those maps now. How do you guys feel about that point, basically?
Yeah, for sure. So I think we haven't seen the end of Mercy. I just think this meta heavily favors, as RQT said, it's very much a Zen meta, and he's sort of pushed Mercy out, and then you sort of have the choice of Mercy and Zen and Lucio, and obviously with the speed boosts and the sound barrier as well, it's always probably going to get picked more than Mercy. I think the Mercy res is still very big, but I think the alt nerf for her might.
It matters on defense.
I think it had a bit bigger of an impact than everyone thought it would, and I think that's why we're seeing her picked a lot less. But in saying that, I definitely think she will be back. Like she's not just going to be out forever.
And it's interesting to see that both of your teams have made that adaptation. One of the things we mentioned right at the top of the broadcast was we were expecting to see a more matured version of the meta now that you guys have had a bit of time to play on this patch, because of course even last week with this patch out, people were still fielding that Mercy on both hybrid and payload maps. And speaking of those last week matches, I actually want to bring something to you, Dozer. because Tainted Minds pulled an interesting Ana strategy out against you guys, and we were kind of wondering if maybe you guys had taken that away and tried to practice that and adapt that. Did you at all? Have either of your teams actually considered the Ana and where that might be used now that you've had a bit more time with the patch?
Yeah, so I mean, we've had a bit of a play around with Ana, putting Mokian on Ana, and we've definitely tried it in a couple of nights of scrims. We felt it could work. It has its potential, but it felt a bit gimmicky and just didn't sit well as a solid lineup with the team. So we decided to just go with the more meta of the heavy meta of Zenny and Lucio. It's pretty much how we went with it.
And as I said the other night, obviously might be new people, but it's still a niche pick. You know, you're gonna get that attack, you're gonna nano boost and try and take the point. I doubt you'll ever see it on defense. Well, I say that, but I'm sure they will. But it's just not as strong on defense, and the fact that you can it kind of is like a cheese in a sense on attack, but it works and it is a reliable strategy. So I'm sure teams will pick it up every now and then.
Alrighty, well, part two of that question is another thing that I can't remember who it was we spoke to. I think it might have been Jimeb. Mentioned that you guys on attack play quite a slow and steady kind of game on those payload maps. You like to fight constantly. You like to get ATAR out in front and make space for you. That was working really, really well on that second point of Dorado. What happened? What happened between that and that third point? Because it kind of fell flat for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. So that's probably a strength and a weakness for our team. We're known to sort of be a little bit slower on the attack. We're definitely not as aggressive as some of the other top teams. So that's something we probably need to work on is actually pushing up as a team. But I thought, pushing through second point, we kind of trickled them in a bit, and we just played off that. And ATAR staying as aggressive as possible with the Harmony Orb, but just getting as many picks as possible. That was the aim. But it just sort of fell into place that way, I guess. And third point, they stopped us, and we weren't able to finish the map just with the solid hold.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much for joining us for a post-match interview, guys. Really insightful answers and great matches as well tonight, of course. Congratulations, of course, to Untitled Spreadsheet, you guys taking out the win, and congratulations as well to Jam Gaming. You guys had a fantastic showing. I think the closest we've come in a long time to seeing the Giants bleed, if you will. So